Magandang araw po muli sa inyong lahat. Narito po muli si Maestro Sani para sa isa namang video lesson sa Science Grade 5. Use the properties of materials, whether useful or harmful. That is quarter 1, week 2, module 2. Pero bago po ang lahat, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe, mag-share at mag-like sa aking YouTube channel. Maraming salamat! So what we need to know after going through this module, we're expected to identify the properties of materials that determine their uses and harmful effects. State the importance of determining the properties of components of materials, and explain how different materials become useful or harmful to people and the community. Ayan, so napakahalaga po ng ating lesson today. So meron po tayong activity. What I know, read and analyze each statement carefully and circle the thumbs up emoji if you agree with the statement, and cross the thumbs down if you disagree. Samantha uses organic fertilizer for her flowering plants. Okay. Siyempre, agree. Then Annalyn transformed the used rubber tires into chairs. Siyempre, agree. Mother gave Nenita vitamins for her fever. Vitamins, fever. Okay. Thumbs down. My father wears surgical gloves when fixing electrical wiring. Surgical gloves, electrical wiring. So, hindi pwede. So, that is thumbs down. Father makes for his crop for good harvest. Okay, so that is thumbs up. Another, looking back to your lesson. So identify the following materials as useful or harmful. So draw a happy face if it is useful material and sad face if it is harmful. So number 1, crumpled paper. Is this useful? How about number 2, food scraps? Okay, pwedeng gawing fertilizer. How about number 3, leftover paints? Useful pa rin po ba yan? Hindi na yan useful. Pesticides? Hindi yan useful. Used rubber tires? Pwedeng maging useful. So yung pesticides maging harmful, as well as paints. Plastic bottles pwedeng maging useful. How about old clothes? Pwedeng useful. Bleach, harmful po yan. Chopped foods, that is useful po yan. Expired medicine, harmful po yan. Okay, so quarter 1, week 2, module 2. Use the properties of materials, whether useful or harmful. So in going about our daily lives, we are surrounded by various things that make our lives easier. We wrap ourselves in blankets to keep our bodies warm. We use a frying pan to fry those lovely sunny side up eggs for breakfast. These things are made of different materials with a specific property. For example, the blankets we wrap ourselves in are made of cotton, which keeps the warmth of our bodies. Things are composed of different materials. Around us, we are surrounded by materials which differ in properties. So, may mga materials na magkakaiba ang properties. These properties determine the purpose and use of a thing. For instance, metals such as iron are commonly used as materials for our frying pans and pots because they are good conductors of heat. A characteristics of material that can be readily observed without changing its composition is known as physical property. Some physical properties are specific to its phase of material such as hardness, brittleness, flexibility, elasticity, conductivity, malleability, ductility, and porosity. Not all properties of matter can be observed immediately. Ayan. Sometimes, the composition of a material has to change first before a certain property can be observed. This is known as chemical property, namely combustibility and flammability are the most evident when a certain material chemical reacts with one another. Chemically reacts with one another. A material can be described in a variety of ways. For example, it may be strong but brittle, and the combination of its properties may determine its use. The property of material can change according to how the material is treated. Clay is very different once it has been fired. Rolled up newspaper is very different to a sheet of newspaper. Yan. So let's have activity. Let's name it. Direction, name the products and write them on the table. Complete the table and write its products description, usefulness, and harmfulness. So let us try this one. Okay, so those are the products. So all you have to do is place them in its column. Then answer the question, how did you determine the property of the material? What made you decide in classifying material into useful or harmful? So alin dyan mga useful, ano yung mga products yan, mga descriptions nila? It is used for what? Is it harmful or useful? Next, we have activity 2. It's a groupy time. So, you have to group the product based on the materials they are made of. List them down using the diagram below. So, meron tayong diagram. So, ayan. So, ano yung mga properties of materials? So, properties, yung products, then uses. Another is activity 3, matchy-matchy. So we have to match the materials to its description by drawing a line. Choose the best answer. So cotton, alin dyan ang kanyang description? Water, sugar, candle, or diamond. Then answer the question, what did you use in making correct description of an object? Then another, can you give 2 more examples for its description mentioned above? So you have to give another 2 examples. Then another activity, complete me please. So study the picture, complete the table using the examples as guide. So meron ulit tayo dito. So ito yung picture sa kitchen. So ito yung table, material, object, material, property. Example, meron tayong example, teapot. Then ceramic, rigid, waterproof, resistant to hot liquids. Then holding hot, liquid. So, yun yung kanyang property. Then another object, task, material, why it was chosen. So, sink. So, yung lababo natin, holding water, washing things, stainless steel, waterproof, strong, tough, easy to clean. So, those are. Then, another question is, how did you find the activity? So, ano masasabi ninyo sa activity? Interesting ba? Boring ba? So, madali lang ba sagutin? So, that's what can you say about the activity. Then, we have activity 5. Think and be creative. So, these are the materials: pencil, ruler, coloring materials, cartolina, or bond paper. So, ayan, do drawing or mag-slogan. Using the given materials, choose from any of the two and make a slogan. Ayan, dissemination information campaign about the use of useful and harmful materials at home in the community. Then, signage on how harmful materials should be handled, managed, or disposed accordingly. So, paano yung tamang pagtatapon? Gumawa ng signage. Then, different household materials. So, let us remember this one. Different household materials, agents, and chemical have their specific physical and chemical properties. These properties of material which will determine whether they are harmful or useful. When one is combined with another, they may cause damage and harmful effects to people or surroundings. Materials have properties that make them useful for certain purposes, and some are not. Among the materials that are very useful to people are metals, plastic, wood, and textiles. Some materials that people use every day can be harmful when they are used improperly. Some materials can cause injuries. Others can be corrosive, flammable, or explosive, poisonous, or reactive. Alcohol is an example of combustible material. So, pwede yung sumasabog, yung nakanabalita nung nakaraan na iwanan sa loob ng kotse sa initan. Sumabog yung alcohol. Kasi nga, in demand ang alcohol. Laging may alcohol na iwanan sa kotse na mainit ang temperature. Then, other examples of combustible materials are wood, sawdust, dried leaves, paper, wax, gasoline, kerosene, oil, thinner, and varnish. So, dapat mag-ingat sa mga bagay na yon, sa mga materials na yon, because they can cause injuries or damage. Then, the usability of certain materials depends on its properties. There are materials that are made to last long and therefore can be reused many times. There are also those that's not meant to be reused, though they can be utilized to serve another purpose. There are also materials that are made for certain purposes only and can be harmful when not in use or disposed properly. Ayan. May mga material na mahalaga pero pag hindi na i-dispose or na itapon ng tama, nagkukos ng injury o nagiging harmful. Another, a material's property can help you determine if the object is useful or harmful. Knowing the properties can help you handle the materials properly or correctly. So, pagka-corrosive, flammable, dapat pag-ingatan po natin yung mga materials na yon. Combustible, yung mga yon. Poisonous. So, dapat mag-ingat tayo sa mga materials na ganon. Then, materials are the substance that are used to manufacture products. Products are the things we use in our daily lives. Materials have uses according to their specific properties and or characteristics. They can be harmful also if not properly used and handled. So, kailangan use them with care and precautions. Another, a material is considered a waste when it can no longer be used after it served its purpose. It is considered harmful when it can harm people, animal, and the environment. Recognizing whether a material is useful or harmful help us decide whether it is reusable material, can still be reused for another purposes, help us minimize the accumulation of waste. Also, knowing which materials are harmful help us to be more careful when disposing them. So, kailangan malalaman natin kung paano siya i-dispose if we know the characteristic of materials. Okay, so we have to check your understanding by doing these activities. So we have to read and analyze each statement. Ayan, write true if the statement is correct and change the underlined words or phrase to make the statement correct. Write your answer in the space provided or in your answer sheets. Another, we have here a post test. Read and analyze. So, meron po tayong mga 5 questions dito. Write yes if the sentence is correct. Excuse me. If the sentence is incorrect, write no. So, you have to write yes or no. Excuse me. Okay, so these are the answer sheet. If you want to know if your answers are correct, you can just see on the answer key or key to corrections. So here are the key answers in the pretest and the looking back. Activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, activity 4, activity 5. Then check your understanding and then the post test. And with that, there are our references. Brush and Norma. So all of these writers and publisher. So with that, thank you so much for listening and watching my video lessons. Huwag pong kalimutang mag-subscribe and mag-like. Maraming salamat!